pvexcess charging, therefore, means directing the self-produced solar energy into the battery of the EV and using it for one's own mobility. Let me explain pvexcess first. My PV system produces more power than my house currently needs. This oversupply is usually fed into the grid, for which you get paid. If you charge your EV at home, you usually use electricity from the grid, for which you pay, often more than what you get paid. pvexcess charging, therefore, means directing the self-produced solar energy into the battery of the EV and using it for one's own mobility. This saves money and is of course very sustainable. There are currently 3 ways to use pvexcess for your electric car. First, completely simple, without communication between the wallbox and the PV system. Second, via an enable signal. This is also referred to as pure access charging. Or third, smart pvexcess charging with dynamic control. This is the simplest solution from a technical perspective. However, as a user, you have to do some thinking and assist the system a little. Why? The electric car draws power as usual. So if 11 kilowatts of charging power are set and only 3 kilowatts come from the PV system as excess, the grid will provide the remaining 8 kilowatts. In order to use this technology to charge as much solar energy as possible, the charging process should only be started when the sun is shining. In addition, the charging power should be lowered to the estimated pvexcess power level. This requires experience, time, and simply the joy of actively collecting solar energy. The investment here is the smallest, but the whole thing is quite inconvenient. For this, the PV system must be able to communicate with the charging station. If the pvexcess surpasses a certain level, which I can preset myself, for example 4 kilowatts, the inverter or smart meter sends an enable signal to the wallbox. Only then the charging process begins. Our C and X series wallboxes can process this enable signal. Advantage of this system: grid and PV power are not mixed. This is why we call it pure pvexcess charging. In order to be independent of the sun, regular grid power can also be used for charging using an external switch. In this case, the pvexcess that occurs at any moment is completely assigned to the vehicle at the charging station. If the oven is turned on, there is less energy for the EV. If the oven is turned off, more electricity flows into the garage. This is made possible by constant communication between the smart meter and the wallbox. The charging power is always adjusted to the current pvexcess. In this way, you use as much as possible of the self-produced solar power yourself. Because PV power is only fed into the grid when all consumers in the house are covered and the EV is also charged. Here, the initial investment is higher because an energy management system is needed. In the long run, however, the consumption of expensive grid energy can be drastically reduced.